right, we are back. A little technical difficulties there in the beginning. If you heard it, I was delayed, whatever. Neither here nor there. Post Super Bowl, first recording after, that it was like, okay, Super Bowl happened. Where do we transition to into the sports world, the sports calendar, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we're going to go basketball. We got some NFL news, Matthew Stafford. We got some NBA stuff we're going to talk about. But I think we got to start with college basketball. I mean, it's March Madness. Conference Championship Week is a couple weeks away. I mean, going into the next week and all that kind of stuff. I'm playing catch up. I started diving into college basketball, month ago. Right around when playoffs are hitting in the NFL, you really dive into it and you're like, okay, let's see what's going on. You keep your eye on it a little bit. There was a tweet, there was a bet, I think it was on DraftKings. It was like, right now in this current moment of college basketball season, would you rather take Duke or Auburn to win the championship or the field? And Auburn's looking real good. Auburn's looking real fucking good. Look, I'm not a Duke fan. I'm a North Carolina fan. My fandom is weird and wild, and I'm a Georgia fan in football, but then I grew up liking the Tar Heels. I was a big Tyler Hansborough fan. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I don't have a lot of hate in my heart because I'm not the biggest college basketball fan in the world. I absolutely love watching it. I love watching March Madness. One of my favorite times of the year where I have, a phone or a tablet going on at work and it's got 4 games on it. I mean, just watching everything I possibly can. It's the fucking best, in my opinion. But Cooper Flag, that Duke team is super long. Their defense is really good. They can get almost any shot they want. The loss they had against Clemson, I think it was last week, it wasn't pretty. Cooper Flag didn't really show up for that entire first half. Even the second half, he's like, where is he at? And then the last 8 minutes or so, he goes on a 12-0 run on his own. The dude's special. I'm excited for him to be in the league. Hopefully a decent team actually drafts him so he can actually build around him, because he's going to have to be the guy right off the bat. NBA, that's NBA talk, though. I don't know other than that. I mean, Auburn's, I know, really good. St. John's. We got Duke, obviously. If I were to, these are kind of the top 10 to 12 teams right now, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 teams that I think can legitimately win it all. I'm not going to rank them because it's March Madness and you could throw anything. You can throw anything out the window. What you know about a team, whether they win their conference championship, whether the last 4 in, first, that kind of shit. It's March Madness. Anything can happen. 1 versus 16 seed. It happened. It never happened until 2 years ago. Then it happened again. And it's just bizarre. Florida's really good. I like them. They're physical. Defense on point. Duke, I talked about. Auburn's got it going right now. St. John's is Rick Pitino. He's going to get it done. Bama is a very interesting one to me because they've kind of been on the precipice of winning a natty for the last 3 or 4 years, ever since Nate Oates got there. Probably, I don't know how long he's been there, but he's had legitimate teams to win a national championship the last 3 or 4 years. Always making deep runs, but never getting over that final hump to go to the big game and win it all. And then I really like Wisconsin. Wisconsin's long, they're lengthy, defense is really good. Their point guard is a fucking all-star. I don't know his name, but he's really good. That loss to Oregon the other night kind of sucked, but I like Wisconsin. I'm just pumped for fuck me. I let my dog out. I'm pumped for March Madness. It's, again, I think it's one of, if not the top playoff. If you look at it, it's probably number 1 just because how much crazy shit happens. Sometimes it's usually not expected, like a 1 versus 16. It's gonna look out for the 5-12s. But yeah, I'm just pumped for it. I don't have much else than that. I'm just really pumped for March Madness. I'm excited to see what teams come out of it and if, who wins it all. Who's gonna make this Cinderella run? Was it North Carolina? NC State last year? Yeah, NC State had that big-ass run last year. Their lefty big man who is just dropping dimes and making buckets left and right. I mean, it was crazy. But that's March Madness. I don't have much else on it. I really want to get my buddy on to talk about it. Maybe we'll do that next week or the week after. Once we get through like the first round of 32 or even after conference championship weeks, because he's deep in college basketball. Deep in college basketball. NBA. First of all, I want to start with this. Court of Gold on Netflix. It is one of the best shows I've seen in a while, like a sports documentary aspect. I mean, it's about the Olympics that happened last year, how everyone's caught up to the USA, how USA, everyone's cut out for their head. USA isn't that good anymore. They have to get the all-stars, the best player in the league to play in the Olympics. Like LeBron tweeted, was like the first one tweeted, then he was the first one that sent out the text with Steph, like Steph, come play with us in the Olympics, all that kind of stuff. And then everyone else started joining. I mean, Kevin Durant, the first 2 episodes, Kevin Durant's been amazing. I think Kevin Durant, he's always been one of my favorite hoopers, one of my favorite basketball players, just because he's a slim reaper and he just goes about his business and runs his fucking mouth, and does well off the court as well. Like, he's a good dude. He's down to earth, all that kind of shit. Like, his perspective on life is really cool to see, especially him talking in like the Court of Gold, the interviews that he's doing. Just a genuine dude through and through, I think. So Court of Gold, that was awesome. MVP race. It's between 2 people right now, and it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Again, I'm a Nuggets fan, so maybe take this with a grain of salt how biased I am on this. When you get on Twitter or anything like that, you look at or if you go into the box score, you see the free throw discrepancies between Jokic and Shai. Shai's averaging 20 free throws a game. The game winner the game tire last night he had against Minnesota. I mean, Anthony Edwards was guarding him. He gets the inbound. He dribbles up, crossover, and he pulls up on a 3, and Ant's with him, and he tries to flop on the 3. It's like, bro, just go shoot the shot. Just go shoot the shot. Like, you don't need to flop. I get the late game behind it. It's like, okay, if this isn't going to go in or if I don't get a clean look, I'm going to try to get a foul. I get that. But even like before, like if you go look at his free throws from the last, 10 games, he's probably close to 100 free throws, where you look at Jokic and it's like maybe 15 in like the last like 8 games. It's just a completely different thing. Don't get me wrong. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a great player, tremendous talent, phenomenal. OKC might make it all the way to the finals this year. I talked about it last year where they had to go through the bump and the grind and they had to get their scars to get to where they're going to get. They did that. They went through those things. Now you look at them, great perimeter defense. Chet Holmgren is all the way back almost, and you got Shai leading the entire way. Like, he's going to go get his 25 and 8 and like 6 every night, which is great. But when you look at MVP status and you look at the numbers, Jokic is doing shit still he's doing shit for the last 3 years that no one else does. It's just mind-boggling to me. I get it. I think Shai is probably going to win it this year just because we got to the point where it's like, oh, it's going to be Jokic every year. It's voter, I'm looking for a word. Bueller, voter, I don't know. But it's like when Braun, it's a perfect example is like Braun. When he was in Miami or even in Cleveland, it's like we can give it to him every year. There's a reason why he only has 4 because they were like, oh, we're kind of bored giving Braun the MVP every year. Don't get me wrong, Derrick Rose had that one year where he outshined everyone. Still the youngest MVP in the entire league ever. Shout out D Rose. But it's like, it's kind of just like, it's like, okay, Jokic could do it this year, but Shai's having a really good year too. Just like last year he was. But Jokic is doing shit that no one else is doing. Historically, no one else is doing. That's my Jokic rant. I get it. Don't get me wrong. OKC's the number 1 team in the West. Whoever plays them is probably going to lose first round. I don't even know who it's going to be. Is it going to be the Warriors? I haven't even looked at the standings lately. But yeah, Shai versus Jokic, MVP debate. Bring it on. Leave it in the comments. Whatever you got to do. The other big, not a whole lot going on in the NBA right now, other than their dog shit All-Star Weekend. I didn't get a chance to go off on that. Their dog shit All-Star Weekend is getting outshined by hockey right now. That hockey 4 Nations tournament was electric. First of all, casual viewer, that's me, casual NHL hockey viewer. I watch playoffs, but like regular season, maybe every once in a while. But when you look at the All-Star weekends compared, the NBA is just it's not even close anymore. It's not even fun. It's not even fun to watch. The skills challenge, shout out Mac McClung going back to back, jumped over a car. White guy still got it. He can jump. But the All-Star weekend it's just boring. I forgot who I was listening to. Might have been Ryan Russillo, but he was like, it's just a corporate gig at this point, and it's for kids. Like, he's got a very good point where like you're shaking a lot of hands if you're an all-star, like, hey, let's do a branding deal or talk to my agent or all that kind of shit. And then you bring the kids along. And it's like, oh, they're going to do the skills competition. Then they don't care about the game. Where like me, if I'm going to watch All-Star Weekend, I want to see them compete. I want to see the best of the best compete in All-Star Weekend. So it's kind of just like, what are we doing? Like, at this point, don't even do anything. Do the skills challenge. Get the best players in the league or who have the most vertical leap to do the dunk contest. Don't get me wrong. Shout out Matt McClung. It's dope. He's made more money winning the dunk contest than he has, playing in the NBA or even in the G League or wherever he is. I don't even know. But it's just dog shit. And then you look at what hockey's doing, the Four Nations. I mean, it was electric. I was tuning in over NBA All-Star Weekend. I was like, NBA All-Star Weekends are here, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll see the highlights. Where like hockey, you're like, oh, U.S. just beat Canada in the round robins game. They go and lose to Sweden, whatever. Canada and U.S. was like the most watched hockey game of all time, and it was over All-Star Weekend. It's like that is what you're supposed to do because they care about it. They absolutely care about All-Star Weekend. I haven't said anything like. I haven't come out and said anything about it, but it's like it's dog shit. It is just dog shit. The NBA All-Star Weekend is dog shit. Adam Silver is doing something. I like Adam Silver. He seems like a really nice guy. Very, very smart. Probably too smart for his own good to run a league where David Stern was like, no, fuck you. I'm going to do it this way. Or, well, that's a great idea. But don't broke if it's, what is that old saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it. That kind of thing. And the NBA All-Star Game has been broke for years. So it's just, I get trying to do nuances and all that kind of stuff. But how do you get the players to care about how they're going to spend their week off? Some people just, most players are probably going to start opting out of All-Star Weekend. Also, I know I'm late to this take because All-Star Weekend was last weekend. The NHL All-Star Weekend was last weekend too. You know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it. It's the picture with Braun and all the All-Stars, the OGs or whatever they called them. Bro, just put your uniform on. And you knew you weren't going to play, and people came out and wanted to see you play in an All-Star Weekend because you're arguably the greatest player ever. And the fact that you didn't even put on a uniform and take a picture, like you ruined the picture. Don't even be in the picture. You're not even playing, bro. You're not even playing. I get it. I'm a Braun stan, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, just put the uniform on. Or I know Norman Powell was all hot and bothered by it. Norman Powell, he was an All-Star elect. He was the replacement. We couldn't, shout out Norman Powell. He was nasty in 2K on the Raptors, but we couldn't find anyone better. Norman Powell, okay. Shout out Norman Powell. Hey, I have nothing against Norman Powell, but it's like we're getting Braun and then we're going to drop down to Norman Powell. Whatever. Speaking of Braun, Lakers, Luka is playing the Mavs tonight. It's in LA. He's going to have a good night. He's going to have his 20 and 10 kind of night. But if you see there's two pictures floating around. When he got traded to the Lakers 2 weeks ago, looks like a normal Luka. A little fat, a little chubby, how he's always kind of been. And then they've released a picture from today. Dude's lost 15 pounds already. He pulled the James Harden. He 110% pulled the James Harden. Get fat and they'll trade me. That's exactly what happened. And it worked. Whoever is that agent, he has to be the same agent between Luka and Harden. And his advice is get fat and they'll trade you. Get out of shape, they'll trade you. Like what? I still have my conspiracy hat on that the Lakers are going to try to stay relevant for as long as they possibly can for the next 20 years. And that's why they traded for a generational challenge or talent for crumbs, because they need to be relevant in the league for the betterment of the sports world. That's my take. But yeah, he's playing the Mavs tonight. He looks in great shape. Looks like he lost 15 pounds. I'm expecting him to have a good night. Don't get me wrong. He's gonna have his shots. He's gonna give a couple shots over to the bench, like, hey, you guys missed me. Aren't you glad they traded me? And then when they go to Dallas, that's when you hammer the parlay. That's when you hammer the parlay for Luka. He's gonna go 35, 15, and like 8 rebounds. That is the night you hammer the parlay. Don't get me wrong. He's gonna have a good night tonight. He's gonna give his 25, 10, maybe in 35. But like, it's when if you want to bankroll whatever you're making a night, hammer it when he goes to Dallas. He's going to go stupid in front of Dallas. He's going to go crazy. The fans are going to be, oh, we miss you, Luka, we miss you, Luka. And he's going to look over at that owner's box and the operating team, whatever the fuck it is, and he's going to look at Nico Collins? Mavs GM, whatever his name is. He's going to look at him, and he's going to stare him down and say, I'm going for 40 tonight with my left hand. That's what he's going to do. I don't know when they play in Dallas, but when they do, that's when you hammer it, because that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to hammer Luka when he goes into Dallas. But yeah, that's the big NBA news going on right now. And Embiid, what's going on with Embiid? He's going to have some crazy surgery to like, it's either going to replace his knee, or they're going to dislocate his hip and put it back into place. That way it restructures his knee. It's crazy. The dude has missed 400 plus games and he's barely played 400 games. How about you just lose 20 pounds? How about that, Embiid? You're already big enough to back anyone down. No one's bullying you around. How about you stop flopping? Stay on your feet. Your knees won't hurt that much. NFL news. We got NFL news. The big news, there's a couple small news. One dropped today. The other one came out the other day. The big news is around Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are like, oh, we might trade Stafford, whatever. And the Stafford's agent gets permission from the Rams to, like, talk to other teams and all that kind of stuff. It's a very, very weird situation in my mind, because Matthew Stafford's not washed. In my mind, he's not washed. The Rams were good last year. They made a good run. They lost to Philly in the NFC Championship or the divisional round. Like, they're a solid team, especially with Matthew Stafford. I get it. He has his nicks and bruises that aren't healing up just as quick because he's older. I get that. Two things that are crazy to me. He wants the report is he wants $50 million a year. That's the crazy thing. Stafford, you got a few years left, buddy. I don't see you getting $50 million a year. And it's crazy that you even would want to leave LA in that system with Sean McVay. Sure, taxes, I get that. You're going to be, if you're going to add for 50, half of it's going to LA, Fire County. But it's like $50 million and you want to leave this? The only spot I can see, like, not the only spot, but like the only situation I can see you leaving for is if it's an established defense and a pretty good play caller. The offense will work itself out. If you sign with the team, they'll go get a wide receiver for you somewhere along those lines. The teams that have shown interest in Stafford are the Giants, Browns, Steelers, and Raiders. Everyone else kind of has their guy at the moment. Maybe the Titans. They're dog shit, though. But, like, these bum-ass teams are the ones that want him. Steelers, maybe not. But the Raiders, whatever. Browns, Giants. The Giants are going to have to give up fucking their first round pick this year to get Stafford. Now, if the Giants are offering that, I might be LA and be like, hey, we can go get a fresh quarterback right now. We can sign someone. We might be able to get Aaron Rodgers as a loaner for the next year or so and see what happens. Leads me to my next point. Is Aaron Rodgers going to go to the Rams? That's the big question right now. Is he going to go to the Rams? Steelers? Is he going to go to the Raiders? I don't know. Wherever he's going, Devontae Adams is going. I said this last week or the week before. If Devontae Adams goes with Aaron Rodgers, I love Devontae Adams. I love Aaron Rodgers, but it's time. It's time. I know you want to be, with your boy, Aaron Rodgers and all that kind of shit, but it's like, go find someone else. besides Patty. Go find someone else. Come to Denver. We want you in Denver. I'd love to have you in Denver. Go somewhere else. I get the chemistry. I get all that shit. He's going to throw you the ball, 10 times a game. I totally get that. But it's like, Devontae, go do your own thing. Rodgers is going to be here for another year, and I don't think you're going to win a ring with him. I don't think so. Aaron Rodgers could be comeback player of the year for sure next year. But it's like, So it's Rodgers to the Rams. Justin Fields is also getting his name thrown around to the Rams. I think I still have very high hopes for Justin Fields. I shouldn't, but I do. I think in the right system, like a McVay system, he would thrive. I really, really do. He can move. His feet are slow. That's the only thing. He can't rotate when he's throwing the ball. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, Justin Fields the Rams, Aaron Rodgers the Rams, Stafford wants $50 million a year. Absurd. That's going to be the most interesting topic for the next few weeks until, we get to the preseason or even in the summer. Sometime in the dog days of summer, he's going to get traded or he's going to sign with a team and it'll be news. The report is that Jamar Chase is going to be asking for, or does he deserve $40 million a year? For a fucking wide receiver, that is a shit ton of money. Now, the Bengals owner, the billionaire, he's a cheap guy. I don't think Jamar is going to get 40. I'd be shocked if he got 35. I really do. Now, you do see that the NFL cap is going up. It's always every year. It's going up. It's going up. All these TV deals, all this advertising, all this branding, all this kind of shit. The money's going through the roof. They're printing money. They're printing their own money at the NFL headquarters. He's going to get 45 or 40 million a year. I don't know. It's really what they want to do with T. Higgins. If they're like, hey, T, or they franchise tag T. Higgins, which I guess is the right move. If you're the Bengals and as an organization, as a player, I'd be pissed because it's like, okay, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here or you're going to pay me my money. So I don't know. And I don't think T. Higgins is going to take a hometown discount unless Jamar Chase does. If Jamar Chase is like, hey, I can take $32 million a year. You can take $20 million a year. Let's keep this thing running for the next 3 or 4 years to go win a Super Bowl. Then we can go. Then we can both leave and get paid. Even though Jamar is going to go down with the Bengals, he's just what it is. Unless he gets hurt, severely hurt, and Joe's like, I don't want him here anymore, which will never happen. Maybe hurt, but we don't root for injuries. But yeah, 40 a year. See what happens with T. Higgins. He got franchise tagged. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Kirk Cousins is the other name that I still don't know what's going to happen with him. Browns, maybe. I'd be shocked if he goes to the Giants. I could see him in a Steelers or a Raiders uniform kind of clearly. Browns makes probably the most sense. The Giants, I don't see him going to the Giants. They have too many problems. Their offensive line is dog shit. And he's coming off an Achilles, so you don't want that. Steelers or Raiders, I think, depending on where Stafford goes. I think that's the first domino to fall in this NFL free agency is when Stafford falls, everything else becomes a lot more clear. The last bit of news I have here, Gronk to the Broncos. There was a report, Gronk's eyeing a return to the NFL, which I don't get. Gronk, you don't tarnish your legacy. Don't tarnish your reputation. You're doing a good thing with Fox for the NFL. You're doing the podcast with Edelman. Don't ruin it. I would love to see you come back on the Broncos because the report is that he wants to come back, and the Broncos and him are kind of like talked about it. I would love to have him on the Broncos. I really would because I still think he's got some juice left. But it's like, why? We're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. I think you just want to come back so Travis Kelce doesn't beat any of your stats or so you can beat his. Something along those lines. Maybe you're like a few catches away from something in NFL history. I don't know. But I don't see it being fruitful or a long-term kind of thing. He could be like, why am the fuck am I at training camp? I was just on NFL Fox NFL, and now I'm in training camp, and I don't want to be here anymore. So, I don't know. Again, I'd be excited. It'd be really cool if he came to the Broncos. I don't think there's a lot of truth behind it. He might have just said it in passing, and it might have caught on, but I don't see it happening. I really, really don't. Again, it'd be cool, but yeah. I don't know. That's all we got. Be on the spread. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. All the good stuff. Follow your boy. Follow the pages. Do what you got to do. That's it. Next week.